Hey everyone, this is Kenny Coins with Marathon Money, and I bring you another. For what I've told by everybody online, this could be a hidden gem. We're here with the CEO of MedX, Lay's Days Coffee Shop, Hans. Um, for the people that don't know, the ticker symbol is MEDH on the OTC. He's really changing the game. I'll let him be able to describe what he's doing and what he's bringing out to the economy.
How's it going? Thanks, Kenny. Appreciate the invite to the show. Hans Enriquez, CEO, MedX Holdings, founder of the Lazy Days Coffee Shop. And yeah, man, we are MedX, dude. We are building a portfolio of brands, focusing on our Lazy Days Coffee Shop brand, which is a franchise model. And we specialize in cannabis hospitality. And we're bringing Amsterdam to you. We're bringing Amsterdam style coffee shops to the masses, and where we're going to normalize and democratize and through socializing, man, at your local coffee shop. So we are making cannabis normal again through one cup of coffee at a time, man.
You're in by the way, for those people who don't know, he has his baby with him, which is exciting. He's 2 weeks old, little
Yeah, he's
Hans
2 weeks. Yeah,
Wolfgang.
little Hans is hanging out with us for a little bit.
So that's what you guys hear. You know what I mean? It's very awesome. But I want to say, let's start off with year over year growth, and the Lazy Day Coffee Shop. You had year over year growth, which is exciting. Double digit growth. Am I correct?
Yep, definitely. It's
And that. So how do you feel about that? I mean, it seems like you're going the right direction. You're expanding. Um, where does the take us back to how this first started and how you got here?
Well, how this first started. Well, actually, so the Lazy Days brand just turned 21 yesterday, 21 years ago. I started this as my first business as a smoke shop, as a counterculture brand. And about 2 years into that, my accountant wanted to buy the business from me. So that was my first venture into licensing the brand. And ever since then, we had a lot of people always interested in getting involved in cannabis and what it takes. And so our brand has always been kind of like hedging your risk. You want to be involved in cannabis, but this is the least amount of risk and liability that you could take, when getting involved in cannabis. So we started licensing and franchising out the Lazy Days brand quite a long time ago for people who were interested in getting involved in the industry, on a small business. And I'd say about 8 years ago or so is when we started introducing the coffee concept. And that came about through just the changing of our product offering, right? As CBD and hemp products were being introduced into Texas, our conversations with our customers got longer and longer. So we offered them a cup of coffee, and we went through. We found a company that was doing pre-infused K cups. They had pre-infused teas and coffees and cocos. And we ended up breaking a whole bunch of Keurig machines. And at that point, we kind of knew that, hey, this is something that we should to go into. And we had some of our partners who had just come back from Amsterdam, and we started putting together, what this could look like, and started to adjust our brand, our product offering, the entire experience. And then this is what you have today is you got the Lazy Days Coffee Shop experience. You go in there, you get offered a cup of coffee, you can infuse it. You can infuse it with mushroom infusions, health and wellness, kava, kratom, THC, CBD, THCA, quite a few things, and you can get yourself a customized coffee for exactly how you like it, or a tea, or even a mushroom coffee. Yeah, and you can sit down, order a joint, and sit back, relax, and do your normal thing like you would normally do your wake and bake, right? And so what we've done is combine the dispensary and the coffee shop and created what a modern cannabis coffee shop experience should be like. And so then, just to answer your question, what does it feel like to do double-digit growth? I guess we've done proof of concept, and we found product market fit, and putting in the systems and the scaling and getting lean and efficient and growing up and maturing and bringing on a team to do, a whole list of things. That's what's got us here. So yeah, I feel good about it. 21 years, and we've gotten the company public, and did double-digit growth this year, and we see the trend keep going. So yeah, it's good stuff.
No, that's amazing, man. And the first thing that comes to mind is like you're building a system. Is Dunkin' Donuts is being compared? You're kind of being compared to Dunkin' Donuts since they're in the coffee franchise business. You know what I mean? They franchise their
Right.
coffee shops. So you're kind of doing the same thing. Obviously, yours is more unique because you have cannabis involved. But what I want to know, are you looking at their model and able to replicate that with your unique delivery?
Yeah, absolutely. I look at what Starbucks has done, what Dunkin' Donuts has done, what Dutch Brothers is doing, Black Rifle Coffee, what brands like Cookies have done, Stizzy, and what they're doing is, one is they've built a brand, right, that's 20 plus years old and very recognizable. So that's first and foremost is kind of creating that well-known brand. But the franchise model, and McDonald's too, right? Like the franchise model is old, right? It's nothing new. So it's really applying a franchise model, what it takes to franchise, what it takes
With
to
a system.
yeah, absolutely. It's all about systems, right? It's all about consistency. It's all about quality. So looking at those models, taking what works for us, and what works best, and I always say that we do things a little bit different. So we take what the best of all those worlds and apply it to us, right? But like if you're looking at McDonald's, it's all about location, and they own real estate. They don't sell burgers, right? I think Dutch Brothers, they're more about connecting with Gen Z and having a fun brand. Dunkin' Donuts reinvented itself when they introduced coffee. They if you notice, there's not a donut logo in there. It's a coffee cup now. Those franchisees said that coffee saved their businesses, right, when they adjusted, and their motto is even America runs on Dunkin', which is coffee. So yeah, I look at those businesses and see what is successful for them, and I'm going to apply it.
So what is Lazy Daisy coffee shop gonna be? You got Starbucks, you got McDonald's, you got America runs on Dunkin'. You got Dutch attracting the millennials and Gen X and Gen Zs. So what is yours?
Well, I mean, Lazy Days is Lazy Days. We're gonna blaze our own trail, but it's three very simple
that
things.
Sounds nice. Blaze your own trail.
It's three very simple things. It's good coffee, good cannabis, and good people. And I challenge anybody to dare. I challenge anybody to do that consistently, day in, day out. For the long term, and I think being able to provide people consistent, good coffee, good cannabis, in a good environment with served by good people is incredibly difficult to do. So we're going to focus on that, and even taking it a level above that. It's great people, great cannabis and great coffee, and making sure there's a consistent experience anytime they visit our coffee shop.
So do you feel like the true change came when you introduced coffee? When you change, and then after that, making a franchise is really what made your growth exponentially double digits? Because
It
like
is.
you're
It
doing
would
really
be about
well.
finding the differentiator, right, and really running with it, right. So our original concept was smoke shop, counterculture store. We tried everything. We've done everything. We've done skate shops, glass blowing studios, collectibles. Full retail for full apparel and merchandise and glass galleries and all types of stuff that were very counterculture, focused and oriented, and no matter how we wrapped it in a bow, no matter how much lipstick we slapped on it, it was still a smoke shop, right? And there wasn't very much differentiation between one smoke shop and the next. And then that came to be the same thing with, vape shops and dispensaries. They all sell the same thing. They're all kind of like a one product.
No, you're okay.
Business, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of why the big major vape company failed, because everybody realized, everybody realized that. But you seem to find a combination niche where people are actually say, I want to franchise this. You got 5 locations between Texas and Maryland, and then what? Right. Amsterdam too. You're making a play internationally. Am I correct?
Not yet. I'd love to go to Amsterdam soon. So we've got 5 operating. We just, we added another 5 before the end of the year, and those will be in Maryland and Houston, Texas, and San Marcos, Texas. Some plays that we're looking at right now immediately are Las Vegas, because
I saw that one, Las Vegas.
Yeah, so Las
Vegas.
Guess
I don't know where I got the Amsterdam from. I thought I saw that somewhere, but I know I saw the Las.
We use that as kind of like we use that as like an elevator pitch, right? When somebody really wants to understand, well, what's Lazy Days? It's an Amsterdam style coffee shop, right? And it gets them to think that, right? It immediately puts them into that into that mindset, or at least can have that vision of what it could look like. Another way we put it is we say we're the Starbucks of cannabis, right? But I don't like to use that because, Starbucks has its own love and hate relationship, right? But from a brand recognition standpoint, absolutely, there'd be nothing wrong with being the Starbucks of cannabis, right? The McDonald's of cannabis, and compare it how you see it, right? A great franchising brand that has been successful in the cannabis space, and like you mentioned earlier, we really doubled down on the niche. We really kind of found who we were. As a brand, we've always been authentic as a counterculture brand. We live it, we breathe it, we bleed it. So being authentic within the space is your customers will see right through it too. If they don't see you're authentic, you're not really. If you're another Chad just trying to jump in this and you really don't even know your customer, they don't want anything to do with you.
100%. And why this is growing and expanding and going out to Las Vegas, you're probably looking at other states. I think one of the really important questions I gotta ask as an investor, as somebody looking into this company, what traits are you looking for in a franchise partner? Because that is something that Dunkin' struggles with, McDonald's struggles with, Chick-fil-A struggles with. There's so many traits that you have to look into for a franchise partner as you grow, and also that leads to either your success or your demise. So what are you looking for with these past 5 that you added, and then also for the future?
Well, there's got to be this. It's a combination, right? It's really a combination of stuff. One is there's a lot of qualifications. One is that do they have experience as a franchise owner, right? Do they come from franchise background? They understand the ebb and flow of the relationship. That's super important. You've got some owners that want to be very hands-on. You've got owners that want to be hands-off, right? I think their openness to training, to learning an industry that is full of regulation, right? If there's anything I could promise, there's going to be uncertainty, right? Like in Texas, we had our entire industry almost banned, right? And then literally at 11:30 at night, before midnight, the governor vetoed it, right? And so I've been through these ups and downs for years on this landscape changing. So being able to adapt, being open to adjusting with where this is going, right? And ultimately, and we do see this as in imminent legalization, right? Um, but so what we're looking for is some qualifications, experience, financially, are they able to do this, right? These where we might have thought it was a little less expensive in the past. I mean, uh, growth costs money, right? So making sure they're financially qualified, and do they have a team that they want to bring along as well? Um, we look at the same thing as Chick-fil-A and McDonald's does. Do they understand this market, right? And are they a good fit? And do you think we'll work well together in the future? A lot of those things.
Because the reason why I ask is that you do have a unique product and you're stepping into a really high profitable space, and you need, just like McDonald's in the building, they struggled with franchise partners, people that didn't take it
Right.
seriously, people that wanted to change things, people that wanted to step outside the system. And what I have learned is, if the system works and makes money, you got to get kind of franchise partners that are buys into the vision and the exact
Absolutely.
vision.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely. Yeah.
And then if you those five that you pick is already working, you know what I mean? I just can't see you not being extremely successful. I think the one next question that comes to mind is like, what is the 2026 like plan looks at? We're December 11th. We're coming to the end of the year. You have done phenomenal. So, but let's talk about 2026. What are some of the things you're looking to execute?
Well, bigger, better, faster, right? Growth, scale, um, all your cliche words, but um, it's really putting all this into play, right? I mean, let's call it an inflection point. I mean, we're micro scale right now. I mean, we're tiny. Uh, the long term goal is to see hundreds of stores across the country, right? And we're at 5, so we've got quite a road ahead of us. So everything that it takes to get there, right? And I think that is adding personnel to the team, you know, uh, and really continuing to focus on the systems that we've created, right? We've just implemented them over the past year, so really doubling down on those systems, right? Those systems work, proving those systems work, getting in front of the right people to scale this quicker, faster, right? Potentially talking with brands like we discussed earlier, or people who are familiar with those brands or working those with those brands in the past, so that we can scale at that type of rate. Um, but things that I'm excited about, I mean, e-commerce, online, I mean, weed to go, super cool, right? Well, who would, I mean, I'm in this conversation right now. I need a coffee and a joint. I would love for it to be delivered right now at my door, right? So that's key, right? Every store being able to do that. The POS systems, the tech stack that runs these businesses is so important. That runs, it's your POS systems, connects to your websites, connects to your loyalty systems, connects to your online ordering, connects to your delivery, connects to your event page, connects to your franchise page, connects to your hiring page, all this stuff, right? So getting all that stuff to work together, that shit's super super important. Um, and continuing to market, right? And do what we say and make sure that we're communicating what we want our brand to communicate, right? And it goes back to being authentic, right? We're Lazy Days is such a cool thing. I mean, for everybody who hasn't experienced it, I mean, it's so cool. I mean, the amount of the 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 reviews, if take a look at a Google listing and check
I
out
did.
I mean,
I
the
did.
review. I mean, the reviews
They're
with those
amazing.
types. Yeah, with those
They're
types of
amazing.
reviews, how could I not want to continue? Right?
Yeah,
It
they're
says that we're
amazing.
doing something right, and I think people really, really appreciate it. Um, and I
So
just want to bring it to markets that don't have it yet.
so I guess the next question is, while we're on talk about like reviews and franchise owners, how much does it actually cost to open a Lazy Day coffee shop? I know every state every area, every location is going to have a different cost. But what have you seen so far between Texas and Maryland?
A shop should cost you about $250 to about $500,000, right? The approach here, I mean, here's the secret: simplicity. That's it. What I've seen, what the mistake I've seen, and it'd be a costly mistake, is that some of these dispensaries, some of these concepts are just overly grandiose. There's nothing wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with a premium tier of or a premium experience. That's great. There's a space for that. To scale that is extremely difficult. So and I mean, we've got experiences like Planet 13 in Las Vegas. I mean, kudos to them, A+ for it being a tourist trap and it being the largest dispensary in the world, right? But oh my goodness, like how expensive could that be to operate, right? So the key here is small footprints and a lot of them, right? And making sure that your startup costs and your operating costs remain low so that it can be profitable, right? Running lean or not running lean or not being smart is basically your poison, right? So, we look at people's consumption habits, right, of coffee or even buying weed, right, even buying cannabis. I need a coffee, and I'm going to go to the places that have got the best coffee closest to me. It's all about convenience. If I'm going to purchase some cannabis, whether this been old school black market and saying like, hey, I'm just going to call my plug, whoever answers the phone and I know who's got good herb, that's who I'm going to go with. The moment he doesn't have good herb or he doesn't pick up, I got to call somebody else, right? And that kind of goes the same way with finding your local dispensary. You go to your dispensary, and if they've got mids all the time, you really don't want to go there. You were going to go to the dispensary that that's got quality cannabis and it's closest to you. So it's really all about convenience. Now, when you marry the two, and I can get my coffee and my cannabis at the same spot, and most people consume on micro levels, right? They're not buying ounces all the time. They're just purchasing a little bit to get high for the next couple of days, right? So, or to medicate for the next couple of days. So simplicity is all about that. And so a low startup cost and low overhead is key here. And I mean, they can be much more, obviously in different markets. Yeah, it might be a little bit more expensive, right? It's going to cost more. You're purchasing the building, you're doing a full build out, but all along during the process and the journey, we're walking you through that, helping negotiate, work with the brokers, work with the real estate, work with the contractors so that everything remains, and because the goal is growth and a development mindset. So kind of going back to what you said earlier about franchising, we want them to have that development mindset. This is not about opening one store and, living your dream and running a coffee shop, mom and pop style. This is about, we want to work with people who want to open anywhere from 3 to 33 or 100 locations,
Yeah.
right? That's what I'm
So
talking
yeah,
about.
so you're talking about McDonald's and Dunkin' style. Dunkin' has that same mindset. They want franchise owners to be able to go from 1 to like 5 stores. McDonald's want the 2 or 3. So they're more in that mindset, mind play. So that is what I like to hear. So the next question comes to mind: how much would be company owned if that's where you're going? Because that's how Dunkin' and McDonald's run, where they say, okay, 30% of the portfolio is company owned, 70% is franchised out, and we collect the franchise fee of this and that. So what does that look like for the future? Is everything going to be franchised out and you're just collecting a fee, or you're going to have some that are owned by the company
No, we
100%?
absolutely will have corporate-owned stores, right? We absolutely have flagship stores. There's certain markets that we feel that we'd probably be in the best interest for us to own those, right, and control those areas. Um, but it's kind of open. I don't necessarily have a percentage stamped on it, but would say 20-30% of those would be corporate-owned, and
I,
those would be
I,
flagship and training facilities.
as time goes on, you'll know when
Right.
opportunities
When I
open up.
got 100 stores and we own 10 of them, There we go. We got 10%, right?
Yeah. So, we're getting close to the end, and there's about 4 or 5 questions, we got to ask for the retail investors, for the institutional guys out there, for the family offices that are watching this. So, what metrics should investors watch to know if you're on track?
I would look at store to store, growth, right? I think, definitely compare store to store growth. You'll be looking at our quarterly reports. You should be seeing increase in overall revenues as we continue to not only bring in royalties from the new stores, but as we see sales uptick with our corporate stores, as we're rolling out these online ordering, I see that really, really making a huge, impact on the store sales. Our tech stack will be rolling that out, next year, which is also a revenue driver. So look for those areas, right? Look at the store sales go up. Look at how many franchises that we've awarded, or how many developer deals we have, so that you can start kind of seeing to do the math on what that would compound, over the next 2 to 3 years. And keep an eye on legislative, right? I mean, it's our job to understand what the legal landscape looks like, right? So for all companies out there, or for anybody listening, or has any idea about cannabis, right? I mean, as of today, cannabis is still federally illegal, right? I mean, as of today, it is still a Schedule I drug. So even states that have cannabis laws, right, and this becomes a states' right thing, those states are still in violation of federal law, right? And then we've got a kind of a dividing line between hemp and cannabis. And from my perspective, this is the exact same plant. It actually is, through science, through botany, this is the same plant. It's a technical thing. It's a legal term. So, without getting off topic too much, I would look at, the legal landscape, what happens on a federal level, what happens on a state level, and what I would like to see, which would be, definitely positive and beneficial for us as a company, is some movement on the federal level, as either rescheduling or descheduling, and I'd like to see some movement on safe banking, which opens up to the financial institutions and family offices, and allows them to begin banking and providing financial services to our industry, versus it being such a small percentage of those financial institutions that have anything to do with us, right? When those two big catalysts happen, I think there's going to be a flood of interest in our sector again. And I think that we'll be way ahead of the curve. We'll be positioned perfectly to help normalize the consumption of cannabis and just usher that in. There'll be a generation that grows up where cannabis has always been legal, and they'll know lazy days.
And that's amazing. Got to end it on that note. We definitely going to be checking back, and next year, close to the end of Q1, Q2, see how expand. But I do have one last thought that came to mind. How many franchise are you looking to open next year that we might be able to pay attention to? Because obviously, the more franchises you get, the better the faster the company grows. So
Obviously,
what is the number?
as many as possible, but I'd say if I can get 33 awarded, I'd feel good about it.
Wow. That'd be amazing. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
We're definitely gonna keep up. We're definitely probably have a plan in mind. So for everybody watching and listening, thank you for joining Marathon Money. I appreciate you. This is Inside the Ticker with MedX right now. Ticker MEDH. Hans, the CEO. Man, he's done an amazing job this year. He brought a company and brought it up 21 years. He's doing a phenomenal job. Got to give it up to him. Let's support him. Let's get behind, buy the stock. Peace.